This is my fourth time. I'm coming back next month though. I mean, of all the subways I've been on it.
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
I see your YouTube.
I'm
very happy to.
On our way to Konkuk University. Did you know I am a professor there, honorary chair professor. I really like the university, so. This is my fourth time. Fourth. I'm coming back next month though. Yeah. And just to be in Korea. Yeah, it's really nice. The very first time?
Yeah.
It was really exciting. Oh, it was so nice. First off, because I ate so much awesome Korean food. First off, being with Koreans for 2 weeks. And then eating so much great food. It was the first time I just had Korean food day after day after day. Yeah, it was really nice. But each time I come, you know, I learn a little more, have more experiences, and I learn a little more about Korea, about the people, talking to more and more people about what's happening in Korean society. When I travel around, I always like to use subways because it just is a nice way to travel. Here, this is very efficient, you know, it's really nice. It's probably too slow for you, and it's probably, you know, it's hard, right? Because you don't do everything fast. But it's very efficient. It can't be much more efficient, really. I mean, of all the subways I've been on, it's like, we don't have this kind of system. And it's much more just chaotic. And it's also, you know, can be really, yeah, it's a little more chaotic. Like in New York City, you just stand on the tracks right on the edge. A lot of people die. I mean, it really is it's a problem. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have the safety features here. This is subway. I like, and also because it's important to support public transportation, you know, like in this world of the environmental crisis that we're in, it's really important to not be using up gasoline in cars. So I try to use a subway as often as I can. Oh, we took a taxi home from the Seoul station. But we had bags, but it would have been so much faster to get on the subway. Oh. Look at this, we don't have in the US. So I have traveled on maybe 15 subway systems around the world. The direction you go is the next station. And in most subways around the world, the direction you go is the final destination on that line. So I had to really get used to that here. Once you understand subways, you get to meet people on subways, you know, although here, a lot of people, everyone's now on their phones. It used to be, when I first started riding subways when I was young, was in Mexico City, and everybody was reading books. They would read either newspapers or these little comic books. When I look now, if you look behind me now, you see everyone on their phones. But it used to be everyone's on a book. Yeah, no one ever sat on the subway and just looked at other people or talked to people. Everybody was always reading something. Like if you go to the subway in New York City, you meet a lot of really characters, you know? I don't see that here in Korea. Like there's a lot of homelessness in the United States. So for people who are homeless, because it's warm in the subway. It makes subways more difficult to deal with. Yeah. But here I don't see that. The Tokyo subway. I went purposely on the subway in Tokyo in the really busy times because I wanted to see what it was like when people are like pushing people onto the cars. I wanted to have that experience, you know? So I was standing in the subway car, you know, like so squished. I was practically lift up off my feet, you know, because there were so many people and they kept pushing people in. And for me, that was a really fun experience. But I wouldn't want to have that every day. Like, oh my God, I've not experienced that in Korea. I haven't had the experience of being on the subway at the right time. I don't think, not in New York. I don't think there's a station in New York for that.
Really?
A lot of it is just the names of streets in New York. Like if you take the one line up, 23rd Street station, and then the 28th Street station, and then the 34th Street station, a lot of that. I don't know if that is true here. Are the stations named after streets? I'm always aware when I'm in Korea of wondering what rules I might be breaking. There's Sam Richards breaking a rule. Penn State in my city, you know, everybody, they don't follow rules like that. When I'm here, I'm always kind of just careful. I just want to be part of the customs and ways of being, so. Yeah, no, it makes me, the fact that Koreans are so willing to follow certain rules of behavior, it makes me calm. I feel good about it. We're very organized. We like things that are in order. So when people are just doing anything they want to do, that doesn't feel good. If you come to our house is really organized. The way the trees are trimmed and the way everything is really taken care of here on this campus. It's such a beautiful campus. I think so. Yeah, it leads to the safety of Korea because, look, you don't get out of line, right? So, and then there's the seats for people who are older. And I always ask, wait, is that me? Like, I don't know. What, can I sit there? And then I think, but if I sit there, you look at, there's another photo of Sam Richards sitting in the seat reserved for elderly people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because this is what I like, right? Like figure things out, and I want to always be just thinking, you know, about what's happening in the world and how do these people live and how do those people live, and then I want to go to that place, and we will go down here. I want to go to that place, and I want to have the experience of living like somebody lives. To become the natives. That's always what is most fascinating for me as a sociologist, right? So I want to stay long enough that I can. Tori has become a fan of Korean food, absolutely.
But it's more than food, it's a whole life, it seems. But you tell me.
And we love eating. We love eating, period. And there are so many different kinds of food. Although it's a very small, country, we have like different food in different regions. North, south, middle section, island, seafood, meat, tiny little mincemeat. Experiment things Korean people do. Love that. And come up with new ideas all the time. So every year I come here, there's a new food.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What do you mean a new food?
Like they mix things, fusion, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Chinese. It's all mixed. It's so good. I've never had that in other countries. Keep that Korean culture inside of the food, but they mix the little things from other countries.
Yeah.
And the Koreans are so good at that.
It feels like Korean to me. And it seems it's very healthy, almost a science to it.
There's a procedure.
Which no one ever says, like, here's the procedure, but it seems.
You just follow that.
But
the culture, yes.
Can you say more about that part?
An example would be like a sam, which is veggie wrapped piece of meat, a little bit of sauce, and you wrap it up. And you take one bite.
You just take one bite?
One bite. You put the whole thing in.
Oh, I see.
So when we see foreigners or people from other countries biting off some,
that would be
like,
me.
Hello, excuse me, like Italians watching, or putting pineapple on pizza or something like that. We're gonna go crazy. So to tell whether he is a authentic Korean or not, we watch him eat some. If he takes a bite off, well, he's not Korean. That's sort of, that's the culture we have. So that's an example.
Where does that come from, though, that you have to eat the whole thing? Like,
I don't know. Having a mouthful makes, you feel good.
The explosion of flavors in your mouth.
It explodes literally in your mouth.
Yeah.
Then you can experience the garlic, the spiciness, and the meat and the veggies. And sometimes you feed your loved one.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
I have not seen that.
I do that all the time.
Really?
Yeah, to my friends. I'm going to do that to you.
And then when I give it to her, it's my gift of what I think is the best
Same thing.
best mouthful.
That's
Yeah,
very
and then I
intriguing.
give it.
How
Yeah.
come we haven't seen that yet?
The people you go out with, I'm sorry, but they're like,
More formal?
professors and CEOs, but when you go to a local market, local restaurants, they eat a lot of their food with their hands.
I love that. That's the best to me. I'd rather eat with my hands than with. One thing I also noticed, Korean food, like you use all the parts.
We do not leave anything.
Yeah,
We
and-
eat everything. Big family, eating was so important.
Remember we ate the beef and we ate the beef, the stomach,
The different
right? Raw
stomachs.
stomachs,
Yes.
like 3 different stomachs.
Go ahead.
Korean food around the world.
Yes. Why is it popular?
It's getting more and more popular.
Okay.
You know, State College, our town, had 1 Korean restaurant forever, and then we had 2, and then suddenly 3 and 4.
We have 4 now?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
The number of sections of introduction to Korean. It went from 1 a semester to 2 to 4 to 6 or 8,
Offered.
and we're seeing this all over the country. But they're eating a lot of Korean
That's
food.
what I was gonna
Yeah, I was
ask
talking
you.
to my Chinese
Oh,
students the other day,
interesting.
and they really love Korean food.
Chinese food.
Yeah. A fascinating thing. We see this in Europe when we're traveling. You just see there's a Korean restaurant that there never would have been before. I mean, it's K cuisine. So all things Korea, right? It's K culture. It's
Yeah.
just once you have Korean fashion and Korean cosmetics and
Yes.
K-pop and K-drama and K-film. Well, K-food comes naturally because think about the dramas, like they're always eating, right? Like they're eating, all they do is eat. And so like you're watching them eat and you just think like, I gotta try that food. Like gimbap, Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Like that, I was
Yeah.
reading how that just kept saying, what is
That
that?
is true. I did.
In the
Eating it.
States?
In the
Gimbap
States,
place?
yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure all over actually.
Because when I eat at a Korean restaurant in the United States, or where I have so far, it's not the same thing. It doesn't strike me in the same way. It's not just, oh my God, this food is so amazing. It's very different here. To me, the food is, the food is the culture somehow.
Yes.
That's just my experience. It's like, I better, we have a friend here who, she said, what do you want to eat one night, the first time I was here, and I was like, well, I saw a pizza place. It would be kind of fun to taste pizza in Korea.
Made by Koreans.
And she was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
No, you're not eating. And I feel like there's some real serious not rules, but senses about the food that is being eaten in a way that I don't care about. I've never grown up that way. I feel like I've walked into an ether that you might call culture.
Yeah.
But I've never experienced it like this any other place.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
But I was saying earlier, when I got on the plane after my first time here, and
Yeah.
the menu, normally I'm just going to go to, like, do we
Yeah,
have ice
whatever,
cream
yeah.
here? Is there
Yeah.
ice cream or some chocolate cake? And I went to whatever the Korean menu
Yeah,
was.
and you didn't even know what the first dish
I
was.
didn't.
It
In
didn't
fact-
matter.
In fact,
You
this
knew it would be
time, I did
good.
the same thing, and the flight attendant said, "Are you familiar with this?"
No,
was
but I'd like to try.
But you said, well, it doesn't matter
said-
because I'll like it, whatever it is.
It's just like this whole experience that is more than just what is being ingested
Yes.
somehow. But
It's-
what does that mean to you as someone who this is your life?
Who's Korean Canadian?
I lived here till I was 17, so I have that flavor, and I miss that flavor. First couple of years, like, geez, my God, I want to eat some authentic Korean food, at a nice restaurant, but you're eating like Americanized or North American style Korean food. It's not that. I want some like real Korean food.
Which is what?
It's not like Japanese where everything is cut and square. There are rough edges there, and the flavor is more spicier, I guess.
yeah.
And you have because Japanese and Chinese don't have that wrapping some culture. We have that, and I love it. And I do it with seafood, beef, everything.
I haven't experienced this enough.
Wow,
I
I'm gonna
like
take
this
you out.
wrapping thing.
This
I'm
is
into
a
that.
really good thing. That's I would say the Korean culture.
So I've
There you are.
Some
I know
is
nothing.
The culture, okay? You gotta try this.
No, but you have, like when we eat sesame leaves.
Yeah.
But that has never been like the central part. I thought that was just a
Because
side.
the restaurants you guys went to were
Oh,
like
just
were
a different kind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
When I first ate here at this faculty and staff cafeteria, I thought the food's really amazing. But then I thought, okay, this is just me. I could drink a glass of water. Like, oh, that's
Oh my God,
amazing
water
water. Yeah. But then I was asking around to a lot of folks, and they said, no, we purposefully make sure that we serve really good food here in the cafeteria. So that's why there's only one dish every day. Everyone eats the same thing, and they make sure that it's a really good dish. So I think what I've heard is the food is absolutely outstanding.
For me, it's healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, it tastes really good, but I'm struck by that this feels like a healthy meal. Our university at Penn State, it's like every fast food that you could desire, and like
Burger,
it's gonna
hot
taste
dog.
delicious,
Yeah.
but it's not gonna be healthy. It's definitely not good. So this feels like it's homemade and healthy. That's
And
different.
if you're, running a university, people are going to go back to work after they eat lunch. You don't want them to eat unhealthy food and fall asleep. You need them to have a light meal and feel really good and be energized and go back to their desks and get to work.
Korean people seem to me generally to be thin people. It's true, I haven't surveyed
No.
the population, but it seems like
No, it's quite true.
it's a funny thing to have such a focus on food. See people that look, thin.
But
And you eat so much.
Extent of the raw food cuisine is
Yeah.
definitely shocking.
As it's moving around. And we were cheering for her, like, come on, you got it.
That was shocking.
But you did it.
did you try it though?
I did try
You
it.
did try
Oh.
it. That's good.
I did, but
Yeah.
it really didn't
Most people don't.
taste it to me.
Like we
I did not
eat
realize that.
everything raw.
Yeah.
Literally everything. Beef, not pork, but
Lots
some
of
people
vegetables.
do.
No, tons of vegetables.
Tons of
raw.
veggies.
This is like for some people's way of thinking the most healthy way to eat.
Yeah.
Right? That's where the most energy
Exactly.
is in the food, right? When it's still
Yeah,
hot.
then cook the energy out of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But do people talk about that?
Yeah.
Like that level?
Oh yeah, people talk
Like
about it.
ordinate, common, all of us, like normal people like us, we would be talking about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because that's not something even close to anything we would talk
Like-
about. Not so much talk about multicultural issues, opportunities, and obstacles, but we want to explore them together. But at a moment in history when Korea and Korean culture is being blasted around the world and people are taking it in and enjoying it and being fascinated by it and learning what is Korean, actually here in Korea,
The politeness, a lot of respect.
When you're talking to a Korean person, you're proud about their country.
How about before you came? What would you have said? What is Korean?
Before I came here, I read a book called Korea, Impossible Country. Korea is a country which is very powerful because it's gone from 60 years ago when the country was restarting to like one of the biggest, most media powerful countries in the world. And I think this diligence, hard work, and this rising from the ashes really spoke to me and really was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to Korea.
Does anybody else who's not Korean?
That what struck out for me the most was that Koreans are really quiet. In the subway, in the library, it's very quiet and respectful, which is totally different to most countries I've been to.
So Korean people in general can be very nice. Yes, that is true. However, Koreans also don't like to associate with foreigners. Like, I just talk to anybody. And it has become a problem in Korea. Also,
You need about 10 Koreans to contain your extrovert energy.
yeah.
Yeah. Just the moment you took the microphone, you were like, okay, that's not Korean right there. Well, let's ask Koreans.
Korean is really passionate people.
Passionate, another key word. We have polite, a couple other things. Passionate. Okay, passionate. What does that mean? Passionate.
They always work hard and live hard.
Live hard.
Yeah.
Live hard.
They always try to spend their time
Efficiently?
efficiently. Yes.
The word caring, that just comes up in my mind because we really care each other. And do you know the word tone? Because tone is like certain affection or the closeness that we feel each other, even if we're not that close or we don't know each other. But sometimes because of that caring things, I think we think too much about other people's opinion. Yeah, I mean,
Concern. about
yeah,
it.
good and bad.
Mhm. When you say we care about each other, who is that?
It's not only the small scope, but it's broader than the other foreigner compared to other countries. I think the people that we care, it's broad.
mean.
What is the one thing that if Korea lost, Korea would lose its soul, like that part of it?
It would no longer be Korean.
It just would no longer be Korea.
I think food. There are many Korean food, but there are also many fusion food. Not many traditional Korean food in Korea.
Yeah.
I do want to just emphasize though what you said, like Korea would lose its soul if the food, if you lost, that's so intense.
Yeah,
That's so deep. That's not every culture could say that. I could certainly not say that in the United States. We wouldn't say like what food would we.
No. And I think that's part of the, well, that's the awesome Korea piece, right? It's like the food. There's something, we had a conversation at lunch today.
So I'm picturing like other cultures here and different foods, and all of a sudden you might feel like, ooh, wait, what's happening to my Korea?
I think they want to do work as perfect as possible. I really see so many students work hard. I think those kind of behavior or mindset is what makes Korean. Yeah. So you talk about the K-pop or something like that, and I think the delicate point of K-pop, that's what makes K-pop so popular. That's my opinion. I just want to say perfectionism. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
For a long time, it has been a single cultural country for a long time, and in the stages of changing into an international country, we should always remember our roots. It is great to be more multicultural and international, but if we forget our history, it won't be Korea. More diversity, that is great, but if the world is going into a single direction that is called multiculturalism and diversity, that is just one culture all over again.
That's a really cool answer. And it reminds me of how when people start to enter into another country, they also have the ability to start to write the history of that country and the story of that country. And so other people coming into Korea will have a different interpretation of Korean history. And because they're now part of Korea, Koreans have to listen to their interpretation, because their interpretation will also have some truth to it. And so it really is fascinating. What you're saying is like you really lose a lot when you lose the story that you've had for a long time. How about this? What's one way in which Germany is definitely different than Korea?
I can somehow, I kind of feel happier being here than in Germany, because in German culture, it's more about really just looking out for yourself. What you said, I think, earlier about being aware. One example for sure that I was so shocked about is in the subway also. I was always wondering in the beginning when I first moved here why Koreans always put their back into the front. In Germany, people would think, I don't want anybody stealing my things, and they would have these kind of evil thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I always assumed they do the same, they don't want anybody to steal their things,
Yeah.
but the only thought they have is because when they turn, they don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah, you realize
And
nobody's stealing anything
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
So,
And that was so different to Europe. It's so very different, and I was really shocked when I heard that. And but I really liked hearing that actually.
Isn't it really nice, by the way? And for any American, isn't it nice to just be in a country where you're not thinking about having your stuff stolen all the time?
You just leave your things anywhere, and nobody even thinks about taking it. In Europe, it's a different story for sure.
Yeah, I put my phone in my back pocket. We never do that in like New York. You got to put it in your front pocket.
So with all of what we're talking about, it seems pretty gentle, pretty nice. I mean, there's things that are different that might cause confusion or whatever. But what is the core reason that we need to talk about, that we're talking about this?
Well, it's not, oh my God, we're going to have foreign workers. It is, Korea is going to change, and from what Korea has been. The young people in here, your grandparents' Korea is not going to be your children's Korea. right? We could all be one country, we could all be different countries, every country could be divided into 4. It really doesn't matter. It's just, in the end, the history of life on this planet is the history of nation states arising and falling and ethnic groups dividing, and that's just how it is in the world, and that's how it will be. You know, look at Europe. Look at the past 500 years of Europe. If you ever watch a map of Europe and it just changes so much, it's so fascinating. But there is a way in which, you know, there are certain pieces of certain countries, certain places, like the United States, even though we're a country made up of so many people from around the world, it's still an awesome country because of that. It has its own unique flavor. The way we live, people come from around the world and they live together. And they build these new cultures. Your culture has gone out over the world and people have responded. As they respond, things begin to change. The wave is actually not the wave going that way, but the wave coming back. And the wave is coming, right, with more and more people wanting to be part of Korea. But as more and more people want to be part of Korea, that means Korea changes, okay? What would change here that you would just be really unhappy with?
I do not really want it happen, but when we lose our own language, especially Korean, it would be really unhappy for us, because I guess all of Koreans really proud of our own language and characters made by King Sejong. In Korea, we can easily find some places that only have English. You know, some places and some famous cafe, they only have English menus. So some elderly people or who don't really like studying English or speaking English, they can understand what it means. I mean, English in Korean is really okay, but I feel like some places trying to use only English, even though it is in Korea.
Mm-hmm. Korea is the only country that we use our own alphabet and language, like even though after some country conquered us, like for example, when you think about Ecuador or Brazil, like the kind of countries, they lost their own language after conquered by other countries. But we still using our own language, and we're really proud of that. Lots of people struggle for that. There's a really fun thing in our culture. We have a meme that the accent about the foreigner accent and real Korean accent. But in English, when you think about that, there's a lot of accent, like French accent, Spanish accent, like even in America, there's a lot of accent. But we don't judge them about that, and we can embrace the whole accent of English, and we don't say it's wrong. It's just like their own, like the way how to say it. In Korea, there's a specific Korean accent that we can distinguish that is a foreign Korean and is a real Korean. So we tries to study the Korean, but I'm worried about that we're gonna lose our spirit about the Korean. Like for example, I'm sorry Sam, but you said about the kimchi.
Yeah.
But it's kimchi, not kimchi. Like that. But if the time is passing, it becomes really close to the real Korean accent. But for me, I think it's good, but in the opposite side, at the same time, I'm worrying about we're gonna lose our own thing.
I'm thinking as you were talking, it reminded me of, you know, you have a home and you're a family and you invite people, you welcome people into your home, but they don't become your brothers and sisters maybe, or that right? There's like family and then there's friends, cousins, whatever, but like how can, so if you just keep adding people to your house, you can't live like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's just making me think of like I have a family, and that's unique. We have a culture, and it's unique.
Yeah.
And there's parts I don't want to lose, right?
Yeah.
We don't talk about culture or multiculturalism like this, right? Because what we normally are talking about is how we should just accept whatever it is that's changing, i.e. other cultures, other ways, other traditions, because this is the right way, right? And we're actually doing the opposite. We're talking about what do we not want to lose, which is the reason reason that people fight against multiculturalism, because we're connected to things, right? So anyway, I'm just saying it's very interesting that we're able to, even how difficult it is, come up with some things that are precious to us. And I think, you know, for people like us in the United States, it's very hard to identify the culture because it's so many cultures, right? So what are you hearing, Sam?
I'm just enjoying. No, I think it's a really, I love what all of you said. I think it's a really valuable. So, like, what is the Korean way and K culture? It only exists because of Korea is the culture that it is and has been for so long, in many ways, closed off to other parts of the world. They have the singularity of it, the Koreanness, right? So that's what creates that kind of energy. It's kind of, if you watch K-pop groups and they're all really tight and precise and they're all the same. That's symbolic in many ways of many aspects of Korean culture. Except the fusion in the food, by the way. Koreans are also good at that.
Can someone say, as you've been listening, because this is what we do as humans, we put pieces together, so there's no right answer. What are you hearing what are the obstacles that you're hearing?
I like to talk about Korean people like to find similarities because when you on a first date or first person, we ask what is your hobby or what is you like to do, because we like to find similarities, but Korean people should find and understand the difference.
You're saying something really, really cool, which is just we tend to focus on the similarities, and that's how we build relationships and community, but we should get better at focusing, seeing differences and appreciating them. Is that what you, and being prepared for that in the world? Great.
I love so many things. This is what's cool. So many different ideas. Yeah, thank you. I agree. And it's really, really a privilege to hear from many different people. And it makes what we do much more interesting, I will say.
Our hope is that this is the beginning of a conversation. What is Korea, or what is whatever culture you're from, and what about that do we care about, and how much of that can we push, and are we interested in a one world culture? I love that. Thank you so much. Since we've been here, the leaves are changing, like getting
more changing,
bright.
Yeah.
It's very pretty.
This part of town is our favorite. Maybe it's just because we spend so much time here, you know, but I really like it. It just feels like we have a second home in a way, right? Do you feel like that?
Yeah, definitely.
Like we come, we know exactly
where
we're going. It's like kind of when you arrive at a country and you know how to get through customs and you know exactly where you're going. It's just, there's something nice about that. It's like arriving home. Definitely. I feel like that. Do you have that?
Yeah. That's a very handsome person right there.
Yeah, you know, you got to be part of the culture.
I love the idea that on the airplane, when you're looking at, they're showing you the safety things, and they have to give you some reason to look at it. On Korean Air, they have BTS, and I'm actually interested. Usually, I'm like, I know all that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually, and on Korean Air, it's actually really creative. Yeah. The other night, I was coming home on the subway, and I was with somebody, and my card, something got screwed up when I went into the subway, and it wasn't certain whether it actually read my card or whether I was able to walk through. She was getting off before the Kongguk, and she said, hey, you know what? I better follow you all the way, because I have a feeling that it didn't read your card. When you won't be able to get out of the subway, the station, because you'll be like a free rider. And so it turns out that it didn't read my card. So luckily, she rode with me all the way to the station.
Very nice.
Escorted me through, and then she went back to where she was going. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Yeah.
People always say, be safe. Whenever we go anywhere, people tell us that, which I appreciate. But the funny thing is, there's so many people that will help.
Anywhere you go.
They'll notice, like, wow, you look confused, you look lost, you look like you need something, and people always help.
People are kind. and good across the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is one
most of us.
lesson that you and I have discovered. And
The vast majority, I should say.
yeah, the vast majority. Things, if I had one thing to teach the world, in a way I try to do this in my class, but if I had one thing to teach the world, it would be almost everybody is good, and almost everybody will do the right thing, and almost everybody will help others.
I love these musical
Yeah,
preludes.
yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
What do we have?
There's a dinging
Yeah.
in many metros, but often not in the U.S. Like not in New York City.
No, that's what I'm thinking.
It's just
yeah.
like, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't figured out this, so this is what I wanted someone to explain to me. That the sound it seems like there's a different sound on different lines.
Is there? See all these things that are happening that I just don't pick up on.
So
it takes a while.
It takes a while.
It really does.
Like when we travel, especially me, every tiny thing I want to figure out. Yeah. Okay. You don't see graffiti here.
Korean people telling us that they're very passionate people, and everyone says, yeah, we are, and I'm like, but you don't overreact is the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So where is the passion?
Where's the passion?
Because I think maybe I just think of the word passion as like reacting to things or being, and maybe that's true and we just don't see it.
And we kept asking people, wait, is this passion? It must be inside your homes because I'm not seeing it.
We see such moderation
everywhere.
Yeah. So we don't know. We're still trying to crack that mystery.
Yeah. But then the other side, it's like, really passionate. We get fiery really fast, and then we come down really fast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but we don't see it. Even when I watch, I remember last year I saw a protest. There was some workers, and they were all sitting. They were sitting there with their signs on the ground in rows, and somebody was speaking, and they weren't yelling. They were just speaking, and then people would, at various moments, hold the sign up, and I'm like, this is not a protest. Like, a protest is, like in the U.S., people are screaming and their signs, and they're hitting each other with their signs, and it was so nice.
Peaceful.
People, so nice and peaceful.
Reverent.
Come on, start protesting. It's so cool. Okay, so that Korea here, and I think fiery, passion.
So we have a lot to learn.
We have a lot to learn. Yeah. Well, we have to get inside people's homes. We have to be inside their relationships, right?
I witnessed one fight on the street, which was not a physical fight, but yelling. Yeah, very loudly. And then two people came and stopped it.
Two strangers.
Yeah. And which in America? No, right here. Yeah. And so I thought, maybe this is the passion. And maybe this happens frequently. But I only saw it at one time.
Yesterday, I was riding the subway. They were standing, so here's the middle, right? And the door, they were standing right in the middle, and you're not supposed to. You're supposed to stand to the side, and then the doors open, and people file out this way, and you file in this way. And they weren't. They were standing right in the middle, and the doors opened, and everybody had to go around them. And my initial thought was, hey, you're not following the rules. So, I wanted to tap them and just move them over, but then I said, well, whatever. I've been Korea-fied, everywhere, it's just yelling. Go there, get in line.
I would say that there's more conflict when there's people with different ideas coming together, right? And so how Korea and the cities of Korea manage that or prepare for that will make a big difference. You will see more things, like people like us showing up and not knowing what to do, and getting, people getting tired of hearing English or seeing words in English or Spanish or Chinese. Whatever.
Yeah, right, which is English lettering everywhere. people feel some kind of way about it. Like when we went to Itaewon.
It's so international, but it's also, it doesn't distinguish itself as Korean or whatever it is, right? And so you feel the loss of that, unique culture. But at the same time, then there's another culture that's created.
It's a global metropolitan culture. And it's the same in these cities all over the world.
Right.
You got to figure out, once you kind of figure out the basics of a metro system, it's cool. It's really fun.
That's
just go
true
anywhere.
when you're good at it.
Here.
감사합니다.
Yeah, see. Korean passion? Yeah. That led me to do that?
Yeah.
I think it's Korean kindness. Yeah, Korean kindness.
I call it good citizen patrol.
I was in Paris a couple weeks ago, and a woman was trying to take her bag down this really long flight of stairs, and I came around the corner, and I didn't even ask her. I just picked up her bag and started walking down the stairs with it. I didn't even ask her. I just grabbed it one foot, and then it was really heavy, and I went, oh my God. And thankfully, I still lift weights, so I'm strong enough. But I was walking down the stairs, and I'm thinking, I can't stop. I just have to get to the bottom.
Did she think you were taking her bag?
No, she didn't. And she was grateful to me. But I bet it weighed at least 60 pounds, maybe 70 pounds. And 60 pounds I'm with one handle.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I was hanging out for dear life.
I don't see a sign.
We're looking at exit 11.
Yeah.
This is
13, 14.
Yeah,
we might have missed it.
We might have missed it. It might be back here. I wasn't paying attention. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think we weren't supposed to go down the stairs. There it is. I think we got caught up carrying that woman's bag, and then we lost track of where we are.
That was good.
Well, this is perfect timing though, because we're supposed to meet KD in 3 minutes.
3?
3 minutes,
wow.
And we'll roll out right exactly. Okay. It's common for us to help others, right? For me in particular, for both of us.
When I said before good citizen patrol, I say that because it's a joke between us. Because we'll be in our neighborhood, walking down the street, and Sam will see someone's light in their car is on. They didn't fully close the door, and he's getting up in their driveway and closing their door. So I call it good citizen patrol.
Good Lord,
Right.
They're gonna think that you're. So this is quite interesting. These are that way, but this, I think it must be this way, 11.
Oh, it's kind of in the middle.
See, so wait, hang on, is it that way or that way? But it's this way. So now that's a little confusing.
I see,
right?
yeah.
There he is, right here.
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
I see your YouTube.
I'm
very happy to. You're one of the. Well, I watch your TV all the time.
Oh my gosh!
Nice.
Well, listen.
You are really encouraging all the Koreans and also Korean Americans and everybody.
Yeah.
And I got hooked up to it. I just cannot stop watching it because you're saying things so correctly.
Yeah.
Aww.
Right here, this is my favorite Korean. Yeah. This man. How are you?
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hi.
Oh.
Nice to see you again.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome
Hello.
to see you.
It was great. Lovely to see you again.
Yeah.
Would you like warm water or?
Whatever is the way.
Yeah, warm water is
Well,
fine.
I usually take warm water.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
What is the benefit?
They say it's going to help you to be prepared for whatever. We need lots of water anyway.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Every time I eat here in Korea, I always feel that underneath it all is health. That things that I'm getting are meant to be eaten a certain way and digested, good for digestion. I always think that. So when you said take the warm water, must also be for health. When I go home, From here, I'm always thinking, I should probably be eating like we eat in Korea.
Yeah, we would live longer.
Yeah.
So this is
Kind of barley tea.
barley tea, yeah.
It's not just water.
It feels, I think what you just said about the health, feels so much better to eat here. And you know, like lunch, I eat lunch in Korea, and I almost rarely eat lunch in the US. Because lunch here, it doesn't, because what happens is in the US, I get tired, I fall asleep. But here, I can eat a full lunch and it. See, I've learned the whole,
You can start with the porridge.
Start with this?
Porridge.
Okay. So one is cold and one is hot.
Yin and yang.
You are the academic who I wanted to be. And what's interesting is that you became so well known for writing about development and modernization. And so it's the yin and the yang in a way, like in the world of the academy, you know, you had this career and then I took this other one, which involves making videos and reaching an audience in a different way.
But these two also complement each other.
They complement each other, yeah.
Yin yang, originally opposite, hot and cold,
Yeah.
high and low.
Yeah.
They don't exist without the other.
Right.
And growth is impossible without transformation and stagnation and
This is to make people, eat more conveniently.
I see.
everything is built around community.
I love the color of this presentation. It's just
You know, raw fish is my favorite. And I think pancakes
pancakes.
is
gimbap.
Lori's favorite.
Okay.
Gimbap pancakes, yeah.
Fish.
Yeah. I think, I'm not sure what it is, but it's really delicious.
Fish. Yeah. My wife and I visited San Francisco, Japanese area. All these American people were queuing up in front of a little shop. Guess what? Japanese sushi restaurant. Americans, no fish.
Yeah,
No. 1980, it happened. Cultural exchanges have been very active. Somebody like Ken.
You know, when you were in the United States in the 70s, people didn't even know where Korea was. Later, then we hear about Korea, but we hear about North and South Korea. So then people would ask, well, are you from North Korea or South Korea?
You're saying it's going from people invisibility to global phenomenon.
The entire world is looking at Korea.
Yeah, culture creating.
And you, as a Korean, who the path that you have taken in understanding the essence of what Korea is, where it's come from, Confucianism and Buddhism and all of the things that emerged that created it. And I ask because I would feel like for me I would be torn a little bit. On one hand, I would want to protect this culture, and on the other hand, I would want to share it. And it's a balance between the two things that I think I would feel, so I'm curious about.
Korean people tend to be capable people. Ability-wise, intelligent. They can do things, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Ability, mentally and physically, I think. It used to be very bad, thousands years ago, was somehow declining, and then we were pushed down to this peninsula, which is much smaller than land we used to occupy. 3/4 of the country is mountains, as you can see.
Yeah.
So all we can do is farming to start this wet field, limited land area. Militarily, we were weak, encroached, invaded, occupied, colonized. We have survived.
Yeah.
We have survived all these disasters, calamities, and unfortunate, unhappy histories. We have never lost our identity, culturally. And in our mind, we have this notion of one nation, one ethnic group, very special.
Yeah, very unique.
Somehow we have been able to survive all this, sustained because of some kind of ability we have.
Yeah.
It's physical, cultural, whatever.
Yeah.
We are very diligent people. So once you learn something, then we try to apply that quickly and try to catch up with the nation that we have learned from.
What worries you about education then?
Again, there are two sides. In Confucianism, education is the utmost important process of making humans considerate to others.
Yeah.
In order to become somebody in the society, you have to pass these examinations.
Yeah.
You learn a lot. You have so much information in your head. But you have not really learned how to utilize this information you have.
How to think.
You learn something quite a lot, but you don't think. Then you're a tool. You're a fool. But the other way, you think a lot, but you don't learn, then you're very dangerous.
Yeah.
When you want to do some kind of revolution, no, go ahead. I think. Thank you. You first have to study, learn something.
I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, you got my message?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. This comes from Confucius Analects. I have done this. Very important. Don't tell me anything. I know everything. But they don't know. That's why they are dangerous. Okay?
I tend to think about the studying without thinking is it's not smart, it's foolish. But I don't think as much about thinking without studying.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, that's dangerous. And I think it explains a lot of things because you can be very crafty in your thoughts and creative, but not based on what is actually true because you haven't studied. What we consider conspiracy theory, right, is people thinking, putting pieces together, but not studying enough what's underneath those things, and that's dangerous.
Sorry, the contemporary global society is suffering from this lack of understanding of this principle.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of false news going around.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's going fast.
Yeah.
Widely.
Yeah. Is this a chestnut?
That's chestnut. Sorry, yeah.
We have a chestnut tree. And we always struggle to know what to do with the chestnuts besides just roast them. So this is gonna. So I'm looking forward to this, to tasting this.
We roast a lot of chestnuts, but
there are ways that you handle this. Step on it. You know,
you can't touch it.
Break.
Yeah.
Take it out.
I've never had the texture like this. So this is very tasty.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's a very different texture.
Yeah.
Can I give you one?
Yeah, no, I didn't have a chestnut this time.
You have to have
I'll
a
get
chestnut.
one.
A precious
I'll let
chestnut.
you, yeah, that's important.
We have achieved our learning is in this country very easy because Korean alphabet, script, easy to learn. It is a very systematic kind of language. Okay, that's how education was spread out. Our labor force, young labor force, their literacy rate was very high, well educated.
Yeah.
Rate of advancement from high school to college is very high.
Yeah.
Educated labor force. They understand what they are doing and they can manage things. That was the positive contribution of education. Really serious problem we have, not only education, but in our daily life, economy, whatever. Moral education, ethics. Yes, we do have moral and ethical education.
Yeah.
They have textbooks too, elementary and high schools. They teach, all these programs of education are geared to in your practical life, technical things. Talk about education in our country to the public. I always have my drawing, which has a big hand-carrying cart
Yeah.
The card is full and overflowing with information,
Yeah.
especially these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you look at the below, the two wheels are broken.
Yeah.
The pulling hand is broken. So what I mean is two wheels, creative,
Yeah.
social, moral, ethical.
Yeah.
Such education is non-existent.
Yeah.
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 The pulling handle is government.
With this in mind, then, what we see here is to pass those exams, you have to do a lot of, you're memorizing, but you're not thinking. So there's not scholarship happening, it's just memorization. And so people end up in school or end up in the workplace without the scholarship that they need to figure out the complex questions that are like the ethical and moral questions are the complex ones.
I want to hear the other side of the Korean wave, because you talked about the success and all, and I want to hear what you see on the other side of that.
Without this kind of education, these guys are always thinking about that's their desire, which is
Which gives them status among their friends. So many things are designed around status.
in this country, status and power. These bring you privilege, and I always say we should take off all the privileges embedded on the job of General Assembly. If we take off all these privileges, then they are not going to be corrupt. They will think about the people.
The actual issues.
Yeah.
People. Policy. This education has to be refurbished fundamentally from early on at home first. You have to show as parents how to act yourself, how to deal with other people, how to be considerate to others, and these things, but they don't care about them. And that's our problem. Therefore, my Confucian studies is not just a study of what Confucianism means in our society, historically and now. I'm always, in the conclusion, I say, we have to refurbish this and renew this and teach our children, beginning in the home.
Yeah.
Your brain is full of information. Entrance exam, your brain will be empty, vacated.
That's right.
And then you're empty because you don't have knowledge. Knowledge means you can utilize practical, realistic, technical, your wealth, your status, power. For that, you use information. No, not only that. For living with other people.
And contributing to a society.
To a society that makes life better for everyone. It's really, you know, here in Korea, young people have a term that they use. As soon as you finish taking an exam, you empty your brain to start another one. And you have to wipe it clean so that you can, you know, begin to write. It's like a blackboard, you know, you erase it all and then you're going to write more on there. And I think then there's nothing left. You keep taking exams, but you have nothing that you're going to hold on to. There's no wisdom, there's no knowledge.
And I want to also say that the students that we've been getting to talk to and have some classes with.
Korean students.
They are very thoughtful, just like students everywhere. In other words, I think there's optimism. For my experience and my observation is that when people as students are invited to think, they're ready to. They're ready to do it.
And they're hungry to do that.
And there's evidence that that's what they've also been doing, right? But there's nothing to say that more of that isn't better, right? I've always been, all my life, in working at a university, impressed with what people, the humans, have to offer when they're invited actually to think, to tell other people what it is that they see in the world, right? There's lots of good evidence of good thinkers ready to do exactly what you're saying, but just, you know, need the structure, the pathway for that.
Need to be invited into it.
Everybody needs to be invited into it.
Yeah. That's a sociological idea there.